Hey guys, today I'm here with Victoria LaBalme. Victoria is a performance and presentation coach. She coaches after TED speakers, believe me or not, Fortune 500, people from Microsoft, PayPal. Oh my gosh, I had such a big list with Microsoft, PayPal. One time I actually saw a picture of you coaching someone from one of those companies for presentations, live presentations from 3 people, right? From 15,000 people. She's extremely highly paid. Some people pay her to the extent of $80,000 US. And I'm happy to have you here, Victoria, someone with such a great caliber to give a little bit back to this community of entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me.
Yes. And Victoria.
Hello.
And Victoria, before we start actually talking about what makes an ordinary communication something extraordinary, why people pay you so much money to make some impact or to produce some results, I'd like to learn a little bit how you came to be this top professional in this market.
Yes. Well, I started as a performing artist. I had many years as an actor and a comedian, and I thought I wanted to be famous. You know, I thought I wanted to be in Hollywood and on TV, which I did. I did a bunch of that, but then...
You actually did TV, Hollywood?
So I did Hollywood. I performed my one-woman show at HBO's theater. I was on Broadway at Caroline's Comedy Club. I was on 27 television commercials, including a Super Bowl spot. So I was doing this, and I thought...
Sorry, it's Super Bowl spot.
Yeah.
So you appeared on a commercial.
I did.
How?
It was great. You know, it's over before you know it. You come and you go.
Yes.
But you know, it's many millions of viewers. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what was your start. But then, what made you become this awesome presenter?
Thank you. Well, I had wanted to. I wanted to be famous. I thought this is my path, and I was being managed by the manager who manages Robin Williams and Billy Crystal, and he was taking me on, and I thought this was it. And then 9/11 happened. I live in New York City in Manhattan, and I was there. I saw the towers come down, and
you really saw it, actually.
Yeah, I'm right a mile from there.
Okay.
So that was my view, and then 2 days later, September 13th, my mother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
Okay.
And I thought, maybe I don't want to be famous. Maybe I want to contribute and connect.
Okay.
And right after that, I was offered to come and help speakers present better.
Okay.
And I resisted. I don't want to do it. I want to be. And then I said yes, and it just continued, and it grew. And executives started asking me, and entrepreneurs and professional speakers, and here I am today.
Oh my gosh. And I mean. I would like to pick your brain a little bit, and I know we don't have much time here, but we're gonna do our best, right? How we actually transform, say in a live event, say in one entrepreneur live event, and someone is actually became a very successful entrepreneur or has this opportunity to speak, because speaking is an opportunity to cause an impact.
That's right.
So how you get someone that performs intuitively, ordinarily, which means not bad, but in the medium, how do you bring them to something extraordinary?
Right.
Oh, it's a big question, I guess.
It's big, and well, I think it'd be good to step back and say why it's so important first, and that is that in our world, especially for your audience, there's so much online business today. People are communicating through Twitter, through their emails. So when you finally have the opportunity to meet someone live at a conference, at an event, that is a moment you don't want to blow.
Yes.
The impact can be significant, like you said, and the opportunity is rare.
Yes.
And once you make that impression, you won't get a second chance. So the one mistake I see made again and again is, and this happens whether you're meeting someone quickly or you're meeting at an event, you're doing a live 30-minute keynote, is we think too much about the information and not enough about the experience we're creating. So this is my number one point.
Wow.
Think more about both of them together. What's the information, but what's the experience you create when you interact?
Wow. Now you're telling me something really incredible, because I actually, for the first time in my career in the digital marketing space, I was in the real estate space, and I decided to go to the digital marketing space, and I said I'm gonna do it live, and all I was thinking about in my first live event, just that before doing it, before someone actually told me that, I didn't have you, but I was thinking about all the information I'm gonna throw them. I said, and someone said, Erico, step back. It's not just about the information.
Yes.
Now, how you make it a good experience? I mean, I know we probably could take years to understand that, and you work one-on-one with clients, but let's try to
Yeah.
go a little bit what are the main things to
Right.
create the experience instead of just the information
Yes.
only.
Yes. Okay. Well, the first place you want to begin is what I call the through line. THROUGH. Through line.
line.
You want to think of the through line as the driving force behind your presentation, your live event.
Okay.
So that it's a theater term. Every character in a theater play or a film has a driving force that drives them. So you think, what drives you, Erico? It's not just the live event. It's not just meeting someone at a conference. What's behind that? I say, what is the nobility behind your work?
Yes.
And when you start with that, just to set the tone, what is the nobility behind my work? Why am I doing this? Because what happens is if you get too transaction-based, you miss the transformation and the transcendence. You want to think, okay, what is the through line? Secondly, then you want to say, okay, what do I want them to know and do and feel? You've probably heard this before. Know, do, and feel. So what do I want my audience or individual, the person, to know? What's the knowledge? That's the information. But then what do I want them to do? What's the action? And what do I want them to feel? What's the experience I want to create?
Wow. For example, what kind of experience could be the feel? Feel moved, feel inspired, or feel...
Sure.
Feel... what else could it be?
Emboldened, energized, that they're in the right place,
Okay.
that they have the talent, that they're unstoppable.
Know, do, and feel. I mean, I
Yeah.
probably have forgotten the third one. In some
Most
of
people
my,
do.
Because we know and do.
Yes.
Like we're
Yes.
like tractors trying to push information sometimes. Sorry,
Yes.
It's not we, but I can say that sometimes I was a tractor and
Right. So here's something for all of you to think about. When you think back on Erico's live event or something that you attended, even like a meeting or a seminar, if you think back on that event or interaction, what do you remember?
probably the stories, how I felt, how was my... I remember some of my, how I was moved, so
Right.
how my life was taking a turning point,
Yes.
like some epiphanies.
Yes. So I ask this question when I teach. You know, when you think of a great presentation or an event, what do you remember? It's the stories, the experiences, the images. We don't remember the details and the words. So when you're crafting your communication, you want to think about those experiences that you're putting in, the stories, the way people learn. And you move your information through that. But if it's all information and content that's not created in a way that people can absorb, it goes right through their heads.
Would you say that it's valid for speaking to 1,000 people, 3,000 people, or just one person as well?
1 to 1,000 and 1 million.
So it doesn't matter, right?
Right. Think of it like the customer experience. It's not just the sale, it's the whole experience for that customer, because that's what makes them. Same thing with one-on-one.
It's awesome, actually. I can see me learning a lot, and I can see why I'm asking the questions. My head is just like going back through my presentation, my sales videos, my everything.
Well, because if you think about a conference, if it's all just information, you're sitting in your chair the whole time for 10 hours. More is not necessarily better.
Got it. Almost awesome. So okay, got that. So do and know, do, and feel.
Yep.
Is there any other further step you would take?
Well, there's a whole sequence. It's a 5-step system I have.
Okay.
And I'm just going to pick out parts of it.
Yes.
But the first is a through line. The second is really to gather all your ideas. Because what happens, you're like, oh, I want to teach this. Oh, I want to do this experience. I want to have this interaction. If it's one-on-one, you think, oh, I want to say this. I want to remember to mention this. So you start thinking all your, I call it the prism, like the full colors of all the different things you want to include. And then you start selecting. And that's the third step, is I call it the constellation technique. So it's how do you order those events?
Yes.
And the first and the final are very important. The first moment, the first thing you say, let's think of it like a movie. The first moment of a movie is really important. The way you open a conference is very important because it sets the tone.
Yes.
And the final, this is where people blow it all the time. Like the final moment when you're talking to someone on the phone, or it shouldn't just be, I'll call you Tuesday. Or thanks everyone for, it's got to embody the through line. So if you want the audience to feel inspired, then what's your final moment? It's got to be an inspiring moment.
Yes. Wow. first and that's one thing as well. Probably in my first event, I did a very well first moment, and I just said, "Oh, it's done." But yes, I never had this coaching about the final moment. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And
Sometimes,
say.
well, people forget one or the other. Sometimes they begin, well, here I am, and I'm just going to take a little bit of time, and it's a terrible beginning.
Awesome. And when you're pitching, there are conferences where you are there to give a content, so you're hired as, I am hired as XYZ to give content, but there are some meetings where you have to pitch, you have to sell, you have to make a killing offer.
From the stage.
From the stage, or maybe from the stage or one-on-one, I don't know.
Right.
But the question is, what do you have any specific tips for someone that's actually not just presenting for presentation's sake, right, content's sake, but presenting for pitching, for selling? Is there anything we should care about when you are doing this live, not on a video but live?
Yeah, well,
a lot of people there are just doing that on videos, but what about live?
Well, you wanna be clear, and we talk about this a lot here, is the transformation. Like, what is the gap between where they are and where they need to be?
Yeah.
And your offer has to fill that solution. It has to be the solution to that gap. So they have to feel the pain and the need.
Awesome. Now, I was wondering if I could ask you that. So, if you coach top people, right? Leaders, TED speakers. I love that. I never thought those people were coached. I thought they were born TED speakers.
Right.
And do you think that those people, and we tend to believe that these people out there are different from us down here because we, never spoke and we don't have that charisma.
Right.
Is there any common mistakes you see them making? Not people starting on. Are the people that are supposed to already perform.
Yeah.
So say you take a leader of a company. Say the guy is already a performer, right? It probably wouldn't be there without you. Why does he hire you? How can you actually perfect the perfection? I mean, probably they are not perfect if they hire you, but why? How can you go a mile further on these cases?
Well, a few things.
How is this possible?
To go further?
Yeah.
Well, we all, I think, can go further. And ultimately, it depends on the type of person, but sometimes people are not expressing their real voice. They're saying what they think they should say. And what the audience wants is for you to be direct. So I'll give you an example.
Yes.
An executive I was working with last week said, so what is your message to the sales team? He's speaking to 1,500 salespeople.
1,500?
1,500 sales. And he said, well, I want them to tap into the corporate execution opportunity. I said, wait a second, dude, what is corporate execution opportunity? I said, what do you really want to say? Let's pretend we're at a bar.
Yes.
And you just want to say it like it is. What would you really say to them if you didn't feel like you had to formalize your language? And he said, I would say, get off your duff. What are you waiting for?
Yes.
I said, say that. So sometimes, as high as these people are, they're still hiding their true voice.
Yes.
And what the audience can always tell, I always say they can smell like authenticity, and they want real. Same thing if you go up to someone at a party. You want them to be real. If you check in at the hotel, you don't want someone who's an automaton. You want someone who's real.
Yes.
So, number two is being the one to craft your presentation. Sometimes people will tell you what they think you should say.
Yes.
Whether they're a top executive getting a script from someone on their team, or someone says, Erico, here's what you should say. And you have to start with yourself.
Okay.
So I say, don't get information right away. Start with your through line, start with your no-do field, clarify it, collect your assets, and come from here. The third thing I would say is to practice. People don't practice. And I don't mean rehearse word for word, but I mean get ready. They say you're not nervous, you're just unprepared.
I got it.
It's like having a dinner party. The more prepared you are when people are coming in, the more excited you are.
Would you say those TED talkers, they prepare?
Oh, some of them do their speech 100 times before they
go TED. Awesome.
Yeah, Winston Churchill was famous for being a great speaker. He was famous for also going over and over and over his work.
Awesome. And Victoria, I know our time is limited here. If someone wants to know a little bit more about you, or a little bit more about your services, or what is there a website they can go through from a little bit more information?
Yeah, if you go to my name, which I think you're going to post.
Yes.
Yes, so victorialabalme.com, or if you forget that, you can just go to Rock the Room.
I love that name.
rocktheroom.com, and it'll take you to my site. And we have free materials, free videos, there are articles, so
Awesome.
it's great. I want to give you one quick tip, which is really great for people.
Awesome.
Most business presentations end on a Q&A.
Yes.
And you never want to do that. Because
Why?
one of three things will happen in a Q&A and none of them is good. One is you won't have any questions. That's weird, awkward. Two is you have too many questions, so you feel this sense of dissatisfaction. And three is someone doesn't really ask a question. They just want to make you look stupid or prove you wrong. And here you have this whole performance you've crafted. And the final moment, remember the importance of the final moment, is a Q&A that's... So what you want to do is make that the second to last moment. And then you end with your celebration, your video, your story, your image, your quote, your experience for the audience.
You control the end.
You control the end.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Victoria. It's a pleasure. I want to acknowledge your generosity for being here and give all this information that, you know, these top people have space. They have to go through a lot of things to get it. And I want to acknowledge you as a person as well, because from your calling on the moment that you want to make a difference, you wanted to connect or to allow people to connect.
Contribute. Yes.
Allow people to contribute and allow people to connect. And I know that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
After 20 years of performance, after 20 years of going back, and for me, it is a business. At the same time, more than a business, it is an opportunity to make an impact. So one of those businesses that actually make impact on these leaders and help them make an impact. So who can actually measure this? And I want to acknowledge you deeply.
Thank you.
For the service you give.
Thank you.
For us human beings.
Thank you. Well, may I say one final thing?
Yes, of course.
So, you know, for those of you who think you're nervous or you're worried about it, I want to tell you it's a good sign that you care. There's a wonderful quote from my mentor, who was a wonderful mime named Marcel Marceau, and he said, you know, the amateur is always pleased.
The amateur
is always pleased, but the professional is always worried, because they know their life depends on what they do.
Awesome.
And the fact that you're worried and you're concerned and you're thinking about it shows that you care.
Awesome. So next time I'm worried before I step on the stage.
It's a great sign.
I get it.
You should be prepared, but you should be concerned and want to deliver to help people communicate, connect, and come alive.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.